Hey guys, it's Corn here. So I've been trying to record this several times to try to get it under 10 minutes, but I just want to talk about last night's game and make a quick short video uh, discussing it from my point of view, so that hopefully you guys would have some like understanding as to what I saw, maybe some critiques that you may have on me. Uh, I can discuss like from my point of view and my thoughts during the match, and then lay it out in this form, and then you can maybe have some insight into what I was thinking. Maybe correct me if my thinking was wrong. Uh, but yeah, I think this is a good form of content to present to you guys. And if anyone takes the time to watch it, I do appreciate it. And let me know what you think. So last night we played a scrim against the 34th, and we were combined with 9th Panzer. And it was supposed to be just some of the big topics that were brought up were it was supposed to be just the us ninth and the 75th versus the 34th. Like us combined would be like 30 some odd players, and they would be 30 some odd players. But at the end of the match, they wound up having several fifth ID guys in their match. So a lot of the blame was placed on that by some players. I mean, I don't know if it was that in particular, but I can just tell you what I saw from my point of view. So we started the match something like this, and the points were Forest Outskirts, Eastern Orth, Dugout Barn, Foy, and then I don't know what the last point was because we never got to it. And I want to say it was Corbrew Approach. It may have been Corbrew Approach because I remember trying to set up a garrison over here in Corbrew, and because it was going to be far away from the next point if we wound up taking Foy. So we came out. The plan was capture the middle point as fast as possible. We came out, relayed that to the squad leaders, but one thing I want to point out is we still had guys that were like, I'm going to build up Eastern. No, dude, I'm sorry that you're not grasping this, but everyone needs to go to the middle point. Like, set up a garrison, yes. Yes, setting up garrison, good. Okay, setting up fallback garrison, good. We had one here. At one point, I think we had one in the middle. I know I got one set up here. Maybe that middle one wasn't there, but we had something like this going on. And then what I was trying to do was to get this is the capture sector. I was trying to hold this middle area down. So I was trying to hold this area down to kind of block them in, right? So we would have a base of fire in the south, and then our flank would be from the west. Okay, that's what because we can't put a spawn point up here in the red zone. We can't even place a garrison here until the point is captured, right? But I was trying to control this area simply because then we have a base of fire, we have a flank. It's you learn it in basic training. Every kind of like basic military concept is the base of fire and the flanking team, right? That's what I'm going with. That's what I learned in the army. That's what I know from this game and other video games that are like it. And so that's what I'm going with. So I was trying to set up in here. And this is not a very advantageous position because this is all of this in here is like wide ass open field. And we did have a lot of disadvantages because you have Dugout Barn all the way in the corner. They had a garrison for most of the match. I want to say I drove up on this garrison twice and once in a half track right there. And if you look at that garrison placement, it's extremely advantageous for them because it's only a little short jaunt from that garrison, which is a blue line garrison for them, even if they don't have dugout as barn as that sector captured. It's not a very long walk. It's less than 200 meters for them to get into the strong point, and they can just constantly spawn, continuously spawn off of that. So, continuing on, we did capture dugout. We did recapture dugout at some point, and we had some garrison placement, some good garrison placement, some good coordination going on. We had got one, of course, we captured dugout. We get one in dugout, and then we get one in here. I'm working. Some guy gets one over here, and then I drop supplies for somebody over here. I went something like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I think we had an eighth one in here, or maybe it was here. But I wound up deleting one because my plan was these supplies. If you remember, like I said, I dropped supplies earlier in the game up here in the corner at Corbrew for a flank. There's a bitter fight. While we're pushing into a foy, we've got the garrison destroyed. There is a bitter fight for dugout because tanks are coming all the way down here. Let's make that red. Tanks are coming all the way down in here, and they're pushing right into dugout. At one point, they said there's a tank in dugout. There's tanks right up on them. They satchel the tank. You know, there's tanks, just all kinds of tanks just coming up, just hammering dugout. And we got Rex up there. Rex killed a lot of tanks, you know, and the other tankers, they 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 did what they could, but we were really suffering from artillery and from tanks. So, like indirect fire, we were suffering from indirect fire the whole time at dugout. So, bitter fight for dugout. Another thing is, I took a supply truck. I took a supply truck and I drove all the way from HQ all the way up here, and I'm going to Corbrew because I'm going to set up this flanking Gary. I got up here out of the way, and I'm waiting for us to get set up. And we got blueberries working off these garrisons. Had some outposts set up, and they were pushing into here, and they were starting to take Foy, but we lost this garrison, and this garrison, and not necessarily in that order. I didn't set up this garrison at Corbrew because at this point we don't have a garrison here. Like, if I set this garrison up, then everyone that's on attack is going to spawn at this garrison and come into Foy. But by the time they get there, we have no base of fire, no base of fire in here in the blue line at all. Nothing stopping them from walking in. So by the time we get to, if I had set that garrison up and all those guys came in here, I believe that we would have lost dugout even faster because the tank takes out the garrison at dugout, and they take dugout. They take dugout and they take this whole section. Belongs to them. Right? So then we're at Eastern North and we're fighting back and we're trying bitterly to fight back. I'm still trying to set up garrisons, red zone garrisons in like this area. Of course, I can't go into the 3 and 4 row, so I'm just working with the 5 and 6 row, and I'm trying to get them in this F and G column. I'm trying to hold this field so if I can pinch them so they're just kind of stuck in this corner. I want to pinch them where they're just stuck in here, and then we can just push them out, right? We started to take it. While we're doing that, while we're doing that, we had a lot of guys complaining that like, oh, they're in artillery, they're killing me. Someone's got to help recon, and there's a recon team in artillery, and maybe it's my fault for ignoring it, but I was kind of like, you know, that's between the artillerymen and the enemy recon team. You know, they'll figure it out. Someone's gonna go back and help him. Someone will go back and try to kill the sniper. You know, they'll figure it out. I just kind of ignored it, but what wound up happening was they took these garrisons down. They took the garrison down here and here, and then they're operating all in these woods, right? In this column. They've got this area under control. So while I'm trying to set back up on this line, like there's enemies. There are enemies coming out of these woods and attacking. Well, you still have the frontal assault coming from here. And we started to cap dugout, but when we shift our weight from one objective to the other, we start to lose Eastern. And once we lose Eastern, that's it. Like once we lose Eastern, like if this is the capture sector for forest outskirts, right? Then and they own this much, they can have a garrison in here and the strong point again, just like Eastern. Look at the lines here. These are the lines for the capture sectors. Dugout has this excellent cover here, right? They take Eastern, And they can put a Gary here, and it's a blue line Gary, and they can constantly spawn off of it and get into the strong point. And it's the same thing for forest outskirts. If they're in here, this becomes a blue line Gary. If they're in here, whatever red zone garrison they have becomes a blue line garrison, and then they can just walk right into forest outskirts. And then blueberries attacking the main objective can walk right in. So this was like a bitter fight, and like those guys said, it's not like throwing shade. It's not. We're not. I don't want to sound like I'm saying like, oh, you did a bad job and you suck and you need to do this better and that better and that better. I made mistakes. We all made mistakes. Like we all make mistakes. There's no like big major glaring like mistake that was made last night, but I just want to talk about like what I saw from my perspective so that maybe we can come together as a team and have some insight into like this is how the game is played, this is what we should be doing, this is what needs to happen for us to win. If we can, like when you play football and you watch tape, like if we can go over like some of the mistakes that we made, then we can avoid making them in the future. But that's it for me. I hope you guys get something out of this. If you have time to watch it, I do appreciate it. So just let me know your opinion, and we can talk about it in the meeting. If we, the meeting this week, whenever we have it.